I'm Ian Rush and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV. This is the Uncensored Match Build Up ahead of Liverpool versus Everton, or Everton versus Liverpool technically, but we're not going to give it that kind of billing. Obviously, because it's the Merseyside Derby, we've pulled out all the stops.
Resident Blue Nose,
Melo returns. Craig, I'm sure it's always a pleasure for you to set foot in the shrine, temple to the mighty Reds.
Well, touch wood, I haven't lost. Well, the Blues haven't lost since you've invited
Get
me.
out! Get out now! Stop the show! Get out now! How have we not noticed this?
No, he's been very quiet about that. If you joined us on YouTube, welcome. I have with me, of course, Chris Pajak, John Machin, and the aforementioned Craig Milton. Gents, let's start. Let's start.
Seriously, can we get rid of him, please? He's a dear old friend of mine, but I can't have him jinxed
I think about the slices of luck he's had since he's been in here. You were for deadline day, weren't you?
Yeah. And did I say Lukaku?
Yeah, doom and gloom. It was like Everton's season was over, and then Melo turns up and they pull all his players out the bag at the last minute. Should have known better. Okay, Chris, let's start with you. Is this a new era starting in Merseyside Derbies?
It possibly could be, but I've got a funny feeling Steven Gerrard might not let it.
By just putting a heavy tackle and getting sent off after 5 minutes?
Probably, yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. I think it is. It's going to be definitely a bit different. I think the Everton fans have really warmed to Martinez as well, haven't they? Although they've not really scored a lot of goals. I think that the fans are definitely behind what they're trying to do. I'm sure Melo knows a lot more than I do on this, and I think Liverpool fans have got a lot more patience with Rodgers now, and it could be a very, very different derby to what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, excellent. So, yes.
So when I give him one word answers, he fucking moans at me.
Melo, from your perspective, obviously, new manager, new regime, a new style of play as well. Do you feel that Everton are going to approach this game in a way that we've maybe not seen in years gone by?
Well, you look at how many times Moyes was negative, especially towards derbies. The one where he played down in
2 games a year, 10 years, 20,
throw a few cup games in there, I do think he'll have a totally different approach to it. Whether the Martinez way can work in the derby, because obviously the tempo of the derby is a lot different than what we've experienced up to now this season under Martinez. He'll have to mix the game up slightly there, but I do feel a lot happier going into this derby than previous ones under Moyes.
Yeah, that for people of our sort of generation, we've been very used to Everton being the dogs, basically. You know what I mean? The dogs of what is dogs in this fixture. Whether it was under Moyes and going back to Royal, and even the second regime of Kendall and what have you. But obviously, when you're going back to the 80s, when Liverpool and Everton were the two best teams in the country, there will have been a lot more. Both sides play football. If you cast your mind back, do you expect this to be a return to that?
Sort of in my sort of football watching time, it's gone up and down. In the 60s they were both very close. They're both winning titles and cups. 70s Everton were awful, and we were very, very good. In the 80s Everton were good again. And it's gone like that. So maybe we're on one of those phases where we're both going to be reasonably high up the league, and it's going to be much more entertaining and interesting.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, definitely. Because to be honest, I didn't expect Everton to start as well as they did. I secretly sort of thought they'd do a bit like us. It'd take a little bit of a time for Martinez to sort of set his style. Whereas they seem to have adapted to it quite well.
It says to me that the players were ready for a change, to be honest. And I think whereas we got rid of Kenny and Rodgers came in, there was a lot of question marks over Rodgers, wasn't there, from our standpoint. I think everybody at Everton Football Club wanted to change from the Moyes style of football, and they were behind Martinez from the beginning. I think that's made that transition probably a little bit easier for him.
Yeah, and the fact that he turned us down as well probably smoothed the process over a little bit.
I'd say the opposite. I don't think that many Everton fans were into Martinez.
Really?
As the manager's choice, it was just he hadn't proven himself, had he? It'd been 4 or 5 seasons at Wigan, and except for winning the FA Cup, what had he really done? You know, scraped through every single season. He'd only seemed to play well in the last 10 games.
Yeah, taking a mid-table side to be a relegation battle side every year.
Which that was the case. Like, I've taken to him now. You know, it is. You know, I love the way he'll throw in a substitution after 55 minutes instead of like Moyes at 88, 89, and you know, hope for the best. Like,
If you wonder if there's any Man United fans that go, oh shit, you mean he does that? He did that in the past as well.
well, he did one at United the other day when they drew. He took Rooney off and brought Smalling on, and I was like, "There's a Moyes substitution." Was it against Southampton? Yeah, when he 1-0 up and went 1-1. Like, and it's just Martinez just wants to attack, you know, from the back forward. Don't think we've got a plan B yet. I think Palace proved that, like, but I think we are heading in that right direction.
Are you surprised by how relatively well you started the season?
Yeah, but then once you saw the players adapt, as you say, so well, and they may have wanted a change, it's people like, he's given Barkley a chance, which Moyes would have been so cautious over the last few youngsters he's had, and have just disappeared into nothing.
Well, the fact that he let him go to like Sheffield Wednesday on loan says that they didn't think that highly of him, because Liverpool, we've had this over the years, and people watching at home will know, we've seen so many of our reasonably quality players when they go to shit teams, it's because they're generally shit. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people thought Barkley was going to go that way, but I think he's been from what you've seen, Barkley does look the business, doesn't he?
Very good player. Yeah.
It's what about you, Dave? What have you made of what you've seen in the Blues so far?
Well, that last hour of the transfer window really stood them in good stead, hasn't it? Lukaku scored them goals, and Barry has been a revelation for them.
Yeah,
he's really given them something they didn't have.
He's actually on WhoScored.com. He's actually the best rated defensive midfielder in the league so far this season, which I think speaks volume, because I think there's a lot of Liverpool fans. We've probably been a little bit unfair on Gareth Bale.
I got shouted down on deadline day for saying he was a good player.
Yeah, and because at that time we hadn't seen that he could be good. He was just a player who'd been stealing a living for the last 4 years.
You don't win titles with Man City. You don't get into that side and win a title if you're a shit player.
No,
simple as.
No, it's true. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. If you could, there's probably some great examples of players.
Jimmy Traore.
Yeah,
Champions League.
He seems to have got their good players playing well.
Yeah.
And as Chris said, they're not scoring enough goals really for what they need, because they have a more free-flowing style than they have under Moyes. So.
Yeah, it's. I think for me, it reminds me a little bit of when Kenny took over after Hodgson for us, and look, there's not a direct comparison, because one could be really unfavourable in comparison there. Hodgson's a much better manager than David Moyes, but under the Hodge, we were so. We were very defensively minded. We were very well drilled, very well organised. And I think that was a hallmark of Moyes' sides. And then when Kenny came in, he kind of just went, "Yeah, go and play some football." And everyone went, "Oh, great!" So they still had all this discipline drilled into them, but then they were able to play football on top. When it came to the next season, Kenny then struggled to sort of maintain that. Whereas I think with Everton, Martinez has sort of been able to do the same to a certain extent. You've got very good players, but when you're seeing, how often you saw a 4-5-1 with like a Victor Anichebe playing right wing or what have you, whereas you're playing 4-3-3 it looks like.
Yeah, it's a 4-5-1, 4-3-3 almost role again. Like, but yeah, it just feels a lot more attacking. But going on that attacking thing, we haven't conceded in like 5.5 hours now.
Yeah,
which is not something I would have thought under Martinez thing. I thought it was going back to the Keegan at Newcastle days of let's win 3-2, 4-3. But yeah, he's tightened up what was a solid defence anyway. Like, and Coleman's coming in a lot more and enjoying his football a lot more as well. Like,
definitely. I actually want to talk a little bit about. I think you'll line up in a minute. But this is the Redmen TV after all, so let's talk about Liverpool for a minute. Chris, obviously, the international break, as ever, has come at a terrible time. There is no great time for an international break.
Exactly, that's why it comes at a terrible time.
But we were on the back of some reasonable form as well. Obviously, having just snotted Fulham, are you hoping that we can? Obviously, the hope is that we can sort of pick that momentum up and continue with it into this game to some extent.
Yes, Paul.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. Anyway, thanks very much for watching the show. It's always a pleasure. Yeah, okay then. Thanks, Dad. Dad, how about you? No, look, in an ideal world, you'd love to have just been able to go straight into the derby off the back of Fulham, but the concern is, obviously, we're filming this as we're about an hour away from kick-off for the England-Germany game, so Daniel Sturridge, who's been missed, Steven Gerrard, who's not been right, we could be without two of our star men, but fingers crossed. Touch
I mean, the problem with international breaks is that you get your players back so late.
Yeah.
So you work with them very late in the day, and as you say, if any of them pick up knocks, you haven't got a lot of time to get them sorted.
Yeah.
I mean, Everton have a little bit of the same problem, but probably not so much.
Yeah. Apparently, Luis Suarez is going to be doing his stretches on John Henry's private plane, and literally probably just land somewhere in Stanley Park.
But they don't need to play Suarez. It'll really infuriate me. They're 5-0 up, aren't they?
Yeah.
From the first leg.
5-0 up.
So, come on.
But it's
on derby at the weekend.
The Uruguay game's on LFC TV.
He's still there, isn't he? So whether he plays, he's still got to
come back.
Get on a jet and get back.
Yeah.
I mean, he walks off the plane and plays anyway. He always does, doesn't he? Apparently, he always did that at Ajax as well. You know, he'd sort of run from the station to get to the ground and play.
He's going tying his laces.
All he ever wanted to do was play football. So he'll obviously play if he's fit, and he'll probably be the match winner.
I think the other thing though is that I was happy at the beginning of the international break when you saw Stevie pulling out and Sturridge pulling out, and you're thinking, for once Man United have been doing this for years and now we're starting to do it, and then they're playing against Jerry, you're like, what a letdown. At least used them in the first game and not the second.
Play against Chile, for the love of God,
And they needed them against Chile, didn't they?
Well, that's it. That was so hilarious. Like, well, they've come up against a different style of football. Why? How? What did they have? Fucking...
Well, as I said to you, so did Chile.
Yeah. Chile, never seen the likes of it. Why aren't they pressing us? Why are they sat so deep? Who were all these children? Question for you then, Dad. Obviously, the way Liverpool have set up this season, we've got a style, although we've changed systems a few times, we've got very much, there's a Rodgers sort of style of play. The teams that we've struggled against are teams that have pressed us high up the pitch. Now, it seems under Martinez, that is, the way he wants football to be played. They want to play, they play in a similar vein to, what we've tried to keep in, with Arsenal, you could say Southampton, those type of teams. Should we go toe-to-toe with them, or should we take a more pragmatic approach?
No, I think we'd go toe-to-toe. I think it'll be an attacking game. I'm hoping that it is, because I think we'll beat them if it is.
I mean, that's the hope, isn't it, Chris? Is that you think that... I mean, think about us last season when we were trying to establish this method of play, and then we came up against teams that just did it better and basically got the floor wiped with us a couple of times. You'd like to hope that we've got a better first 11, man for man. Just checking to see if I get a reaction on that.
We have.
And they've had an extra year to work on it. You'd like to think that, given the irresistible force and the immovable object, we would come out on top.
I think we would, but I disagree with John. To be honest, I think we should take a pragmatic approach and maybe look at a draw.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about over the last couple of weeks that it's how you do against the teams higher up the league, and Everton are going to be higher up the league. So for me, going to Goodison Park and getting a draw is not a bad result. And I think that we've not been great in possession anyway this season, bar the last game. I would quite happily invite a little bit of pressure from Everton and see if they can break us down and maybe try and hit them on the counter.
Would you maybe go back to 3 at the back for this game? I mean, we reverted to that in the second half.
I'd rather see 2 at the back against Lukaku, just because I feel that our defenders are a little bit uncomfortable when they don't know who they're supposed to be marking, especially with the 3 at the back, and who's supposed to be marking him when. So I'd rather them say, look, 2 at the back, mark Lukaku, get the runners. So I think 4 at the back would be a good choice.
On Lukaku, okay, what have you made of him so far? He looks unbelievable.
It's a revelation, isn't he? He's 20 years old. He's the same age as Ross Barkley. When you talk about Barkley being this kid and all that, and yet they both played at a youth level against each other, the way it seems to be, if you want to silence Lukaku, is to go and man-mark him. And in the last few games, some teams have come out and actually done that, and it does quieten them. Saying that, on the other hand, Barkley hasn't played in them. He's been playing Osman behind them in them games, so it depends. He's linked up really well with Barkley, and it's shown. But I think if you go toe to toe with us, I think Lukaku will run rings round.
Whoever
is at the back.
It's interesting, isn't that? Because Lukaku is the last test from that lingers from last year. We came up against these teams with these powerful target men. The likes of Benteke, the likes of Matt Smith. And we struggled against them, and we've coped with them a lot better so far this year. And for me, this is we need to be able to just do it almost one more time to prove we have learned to a certain extent.
Well, you can't afford to have the same problem on and on and on and on. You've got to solve it, haven't you? And hopefully by now they've learnt enough lessons to say, we know what the problem is. The trouble is you don't really know at the moment who his centre-backs are going to be.
Yeah.
Last week it was Skirtle and Agger, and they've not been together all season. So, does he stick with them or does he go back to Toure? It's difficult to know, isn't it? And if you don't know who your centre-backs are, it's difficult to know how you're going to play Lukaku, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be a no-brainer. Under normal circumstances, I'd say, it's going to be Skirtle and Agger. It's got to be because they performed really well against Fulham, albeit against Dimitar Berbatov, the world's laziest footballer. They're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time, perhaps a bit more of a physical contest. Perhaps facing up to someone who doesn't walk around with it hands in his imaginary pockets for 90 minutes. Kolo Toure's dealt very well with a lot of these big men earlier on in the season. Could be a shout for him to come back. And this is why I think we might well go with three at the back just to try and get another one. Is
Kolo still injured though?
There is a question mark over whether he'll be fit. I don't know when he'll go out, but you might have missed it. I might have done it already. I'm on a Google Hangout with Kolo Toure on Thursday afternoon. As you do. I'll ask him.
It's a good Thursday afternoon.
That's a good Thursday afternoon, yeah. Go ahead, Colo. I'll find out. So I'll find out first hand.
Pity you don't know now.
Pity I don't know now.
The other issue for me is whether we can stop service to Lukaku.
Yeah.
If he stops service like we did with Benteke, then he's not going to do a lot of damage. But if you let people get crosses to him, passes to him deep in our half, then he's going to cause us trouble.
Defo. Just a little stat attack on Romelu Lukaku then. He's played, is this league games, Dave? Yeah. Played 7, scored 5, 13 shots, shot accuracy 77%, 1 assist, 3 key passes, 4 chances created. Sorry, apparently people don't like it when you smack your leg on this show, so just do it for emphasis, just to make sure we drive the points home. Let's have a trivia question because we haven't done that. This is the first time I've forgotten the question rather than the answer. How many players have scored goals for both Liverpool and Everton in a Merseyside derby, and who? So give me their names as well. How many players have scored goals for both Liverpool and Everton in a Merseyside derby, and name them as well. And we'll give you the trivia answer right at the very end of the show. We'll have the music segment and then come all the way back. Come back to us for the trivia.
Does that include doggies?
I was going to ask you this, Dave, because you had an opportunity to make this a really interesting trick question potentially. But has there ever been a player who scored an Oggy? There must have been someone who scored an Oggy, sure. Really? In depth as ever. I would suspect that it would be up there, so maybe not.
Stumped.
Yeah. I've actually got another trivia question here. We've played Everton in the league a total. Hang on a second, is that right? We've played 94 times in the league.
Top flight.
Top flight.
So that's not just Premier League, that's the league.
Post-war era.
That's
well, they've never been out of the top division, have they?
Well, we are.
Yeah, but. Alright, sounds. Okay, so we've played them 94 times in the league. We've won 34, drawn 28, and lost 32. Okay, so I've got a question for you.
Oh, crap. What day is your birthday?
That's your favourite colour. What is our total goal difference in that time? Have a little think on that. Alright,
you mean like the aggregate score?
Yeah, the total aggregate, if it was a league table and you'd had your
140 to 100 and...
What's your goal difference?
Plus 14 to Liverpool.
Anyone else want to...
I'm going to say 0.
2.
Let me know. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Let me know what you think Liverpool's total goal difference is.
Come on, let us know now.
Drawing it out, baby. In 94 league games against the Blues.
But you forget later.
I've got it here, it's alright. Remind me, please, remind me. Okay, let's talk about how teams are going to line up. Because you're the home side, Mugs away, Millo. You played, it mattered there, it was 4-3-3 against Palace.
Yeah.
Last week with Morales right of a technically of a 3 with Pinar left.
Yeah, don't trust
Lukaku through the middle. No, I know. But it look, as you 3 in the middle, it looks like you've got a sort of double pivot going on with Barry and McCarthy, and Osman at the sort of peak of the triangle.
To me, it's still 4-5-1. Like you think, I don't think Pinar's had a good season at all this season. So now it's the decision of, do you throw in Delafeu as just a total risk? He's going to stick Howard in goal, normal back four, so Coleman, Distan, Jags, Baines. The 5 midfield, Barry, McCarthy. I'd play Barkley
instead of Osman.
Yeah, definitely instead of Osman. Morales, he has put his hands up and said he hasn't had a great season. And then it's either going to be Pinar, Delafeu, and Lukaku up front.
I mean, Morales last season, he played on the left, didn't he? Because he played it up against Wisdom and absolutely roasted them. Do you think playing wide right is his best position?
It's, you know what, I don't know whether I'd play him just behind the forwards. He banged in a load of goals. I know it was in Greece, but that's where he was a forward then, and we've kind of brought him in.
The division where Sebastian Leto, remember him? Top goal scorer a couple of years ago, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so I'd love to see him behind the forward, but then you're kind of losing Barkley, and we haven't got a massive squad, but I don't know whether when he did drop Barkley, just to give him a rest or whatever, Osman wasn't playing great. I would have pushed Morales up there personally, so I don't know what he's going to do in the derby, to be honest. I named last year's 11 because Moyes was easy to predict. As I say, that's the one change. Yeah, that's the one thing. If it was personally, I'd drop Pinar and play Delafeu. I don't think he will. Yeah. So it'll be near enough to start line last time, except Barkley and Osman.
Excellent. Okay. I mean, bear in mind that, and this is a wonderful stat. I love these. Everton are unbeaten at Goodison so far this season.
So 2012 December, yeah.
Oh yeah, apparently it was in the paper, wasn't it? They were saying if he goes unbeaten until January, then it's the record for the most unbeaten games at home. I was like, fucking hell, just give it a few weeks, keep holding that stat for a few weeks. And he's going, it doesn't really concern me because oh yeah, we're definitely going for it. Fucking enough rope to hang yourself there with Bobby Martinez. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we were talking about this potentially pragmatic approach. What would you go with? Would you stick with the formation against Fulham?
I think it would be the same team as Fulham, apart from Coutinho. If Enrique's fit, I think he'd come back in.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we'll go for it rather than... But obviously, if he decides on 4 centre-backs or something, then obviously we might not go for it. But I think you just go with that team from last week, more or less.
It does make sense. I think I agree with what you're saying, Chris. I mean, I love the notion of us going toe-to-toe, but I also I just want us to get some points from this game. And that sounds really unconfident. No, I don't want to draw. I want us to go and I don't mind if we're a bit honourable and come away with a bit of a shitty 1-0 win or a 2-1 win. I think it's more important that we actually get a win than how we go about doing it. Although it would be potentially thrilling to see 2 attacking sides come nose to nose.
No, we don't need to. We can't afford to lose it. Really, I agree with that. At the same time, of all the games we've got over from now till New Year, this is probably the easiest of the tough ones. If you know what I mean. Yeah. I think we're going to have more trouble winning at Spurs. For us though, we always have trouble at Spurs.
Yeah.
Man City are really dangerous at Main Road, and then we've got to go to Chelsea. I think they're more difficult to win than the one at Goodison. So for me, I'd want to get points in the bag after.
Don't take it so personally.
3 points behind us.
no. Yeah, so
we're beating Chelsea.
Man United are gaining on you still, so you've got to be careful.
I actually think Everton are at least as good as Tottenham, but Tottenham always do much damage when we go to White Hart Lane.
Yeah, no, it's right.
Sure why it is.
But as they say, and no one said it yet, it's got to be said. the form book goes out the window, doesn't it?
I've said like 3 times this week in work. That's why I've not said it here.
So you just can't predict what's going to happen. For me, I never feared Everton under Moyes. I just didn't, because we had enough of a track record. Okay, we weren't consistently brilliant at Goodison Park during that time. You could always guarantee a result to crop up like periodically for Everton, but. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect in this game, and that's why I think we should maybe err on the side of caution and look to sort of counteract what they've got good going for them. Basically, take Lukaku and potentially Barkley out the game and let Suarez and Statistical do the bit.
I can't imagine that he would go into a derby game and sit back and let Everton come at us.
Counter-attack.
And it's just a recipe for defeat.
I would never have thought he'd just sit back after our first goal at United. He does these quirky things occasionally, doesn't he? Because we did sit back then.
It's like the Mourinho approach, innit? You know what I mean? Do we go out, try and get a couple of goals and then defend it? Are we capable of doing that? Everton they are a good side. They are a good side. No, I think we need to come up with something from this game. I mean, let us know if you're watching. Let us know how you think Liverpool should line up. Would you go back to 3 at the back? I can hear the caps lock being turned on. No, 2, 3 at the back. It must die. So 4 at the back then. Yeah. Who would you line up with? Who would you change? Who would you keep? Etc. 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 Thoughts on Everton's danger and thoughts on Lukaku and Barkley, etc. If of course Liverpool have had some major injury concerns during the Germany game. Obviously, you'll know that. We don't know that. We're not tits. We just don't have a time machine. So let us know in the comments section.
I do, but mine doesn't work.
Underneath there. Yeah, great. You haven't got insurance for the DeLorean. Just sat on the drive. Any idea how much it is to insure a DeLorean?
No, you can't get it on that 6,000 miles thing.
I agree to have a tracking box fitted. Still that expensive. Surprisingly, it doesn't work through space-time. Interferes with the flux capacitor. Right.
It let you go 87 miles an hour.
Yeah. For the love of God, do not go any faster than 87. Right, okay then. We're going to have a little musical break before we wrap up the show from the outstanding Fidel Afro. Pete actually come in and did a little solo set for us. When we come back from there, we'll give you the trivia answer, which I know you're all dying to. I'll give you both trivia answers. Double trouble. Even more reason to come back to watch the music, of course, and then come back in a couple of minutes' time. So watch this.
My name's Pete Murphy from the band Fidel Afro, and this song's called JD. Show me a man who's got a plan. Show you a man who's got no money. Show me a thing you think that's cool. Show you a thing that's not so funny. You can say what you're at to fool yourself. Feed off the lies they tell and say. Show me a part you're gonna play. Show you the place where you'll be hiding. Show me the part that I can play. Show you the place where I'll be dying. You can say what you like to fool yourself. Feed off the lies they tell and say. Show me a place where I can stay. Show me a place where I'll be hiding. Show me the place where you can play. Show me the place where I'll be fighting. You can say what you like.
absolutely fantastic as ever. And of course, if you want to feature your band on RMTV Music, get in touch, email production@theredmentv.com or just tweet me at @theredmentv. Okay, trivia answers, what you're all here for. Oh yeah, and we'll do score predictions because we've not done them.
Oh,
as well.
yes.
Okay, so your trivia answers, as promised, just draw out the tension, trying to find the sheet with the actual answers. Printed on.
Dramatic as well.
Bit of flair there, like. Okay, I'll start with the Liverpool's goal difference over 94 games played against Liverpool in
What
the
did everyone
top
guess
flight. All kinds of numbers. Liverpool have scored 117 goals.
Yeah.
Everton have scored 114 goals.
Oh, you were close.
Meaning Liverpool had a +3 goal difference over 94 games. It's amazing that when you consider how close that is over all those years.
They were probably winning before Moyes then, weren't they, on goals?
Yeah, Andrick and Chelsea's had over the top, and then all of a sudden, nah, not so much. Yeah, anyway, and the actual proper trivia question: how many Liverpool players have scored goals for both Liverpool and Everton in a Merseyside derby, and who? Only 2 players have scored for both sides in a Merseyside derby. Dad, any guesses who?
Beardsley.
Peter Beardsley, of course.
Barnum, maybe?
David Johnson.
David Johnson. There you go. David Johnson famously scored his derby debut for Everton in November 1971, then scored 2 derby goals during a spell with Liverpool. Peter Beardsley added to his tally of 6 derby goals for Liverpool with 1 for Everton on December 19.
His first game back against them, wasn't it?
Anyway, score predictions, Mel.
Head or heart. Realistically, I can see it being a 0-0. I'd love it, and I'm going to bet on a 2-0 Everton.
Excellent. Well, not really, but
Thanks, yeah.
I was a bit tempted to go with the old favourite 2-1, but I'm going to go 3-2 to Liverpool.
Okay.
I'm thinking 2-1 to Liverpool or 2-1.
Yeah.
I am getting splinters in my arse from sitting on the fence.
I can see. You know what I kind of like a 1-0 win with Suarez scoring an offside goal in the last minute.
What do you mean, like last time?
Fucking karma, baby. Yeah, it just comes back. Luis Suarez, a good foot offside, knocks one in with his hand, and wheels away, celebrating goal like that. Yeah, and just the pure vitriol coming down from the stands. No, I'd take that. Let us know your score predictions, of course, underneath. And thank you very much for watching this week. We're going to wrap up there. Do get in touch on any of your thoughts. How you think Liverpool are going to line up, how you think Everton will line up, etc, etc, etc. If you just want to troll Milo, Tim in the comments underneath. Always good fun. On the subscriber shows this week, we've got the Reds news roundup, where we're going to be talking about a whole host of Liverpool topics, including Gerrard's back injections, apparently. Liverpool are reportedly winning the race for Will Hughes from Derby. Adrian Durham's being a bit of a tit. Pep Guardiola meeting with Suarez's agent. Slash his brother. Adam Morgan's allowed to go. Liverpool have the top 6 performing players in the Premier League so far this season. Are we performing with expectations? And I might even have time for the 3 most underrated Liverpool players of the last 10 years. And then the Friday football show with all of the amazing topics. So do tune in for that on the redmentv.com. It's free for a month. It's Christmas coming. You got the whole December. You're going to be bored. So
Christmas
check
specials.
it out. And Christmas specials as well. So yeah, do check it out. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and ta-ra.